Hello, and welcome to Vox Solaris. I'm Solaris, and this week we're joined by a super supportive skelegirl, Vivi Vidette. Hey, Vivi.
So Ted Bundy, right?
Okay, then. This is how we're going to start? Yep,
Yes.
perfect.
My
So,
goal is to ban you.
how are you doing,
Deader than ever.
And I guess we should probably start with the real basics for people who might not have seen you before. Kind of how would you describe yourself and your quote-unquote content?
Okay, I am Vivi Vidette. I'm on Twitter and Twitch, and I stream whenever I feel like it at 4 p.m. EST. I've been doing a lot of Minecraft recently, but I'm also obsessed with dating sims and simping over demon boys. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess more specific, what she's talking about there is Monster Prom, which I actually also happen to play this week for the first time in years. And
Yeah.
how did I don't remember. You hadn't played it before you started streaming it, right?
I had played it once before, but it was very briefly. I didn't understand shit, and I didn't appreciate the boyo that it was going after.
I was gonna say, like, I don't. I feel like the Damien thing was something just kind of happened. Damien is one of the characters in Monster Prom. It was just kind of something that happened on stream.
Damien is the only character in Monster Prom. I don't think there's anybody else in that game except for him. Like, I don't
Ah,
give a
yes,
shit how
it's
many times I go to prom with him. He's mine.
the dating sim where the only option is Damien. Seems like a good dating sim. I'd play
Right.
that. Have you gotten any of his secret endings?
I've gotten all of the endings in Monster Camp, but Monster Prom, I still have to do the sun one and the fighting one.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I haven't I never did Damien's routes. So I'm kind of thinking, depending on how much I start playing it this week, I probably will start going to secret ending hunting. And I'll probably end up picking up his endings. I kind of want to do his I want to see if I can get his son one on stream because I think that would be fitting given who I am.
Oh yeah, he's gonna beat the fuck out of you, man.
I guess, yeah, we get punched right in the face.
Some
So
people
yeah,
are
look
into
forward to
that.
that on either of our streams. You haven't played as much Monster Camp lately, though, or either one lately. Then again, I guess you've been very busy lately.
Yeah, also Minecraft. The last time I did it, it was a collab with Phantom, Sebi, and Rigel, and I fucking loved that collab so much. It was
That was
great.
I don't know if I can't remember if Rigel had watched any of the times that you played it before, so I don't think he had like any idea what the heck he was getting into.
No,
The other
very,
two, I think, at
very
least kind of knew,
briefly.
but yeah, that was just watching everybody have like a mental breakdown. I don't think did were you the only one that actually like won or like actually went to promise somebody in that
Yeah,
contract?
yeah. The others got straight fucked.
Like they like half tried to screw you over and then like half didn't, or they like failed at it. I don't remember distinctly in the collab, but like, but it was just they tried to screw you over and then you were the only one that actually went to prom with anybody.
Ain't it ironic?
Hmm. This is what happens when you mess with Vivi. Everybody
Right.
be aware.
I'm the only one who gets the demon boy, you fuckers.
Oh man, now like I okay, I was gonna say that I don't even really like Damien, so that's fine with me, but I don't know if I should say that to you.
Yeah, you might want to keep your mouth shut. He is a god to me.
Just top tier. Fair enough. That's fair. I feel that way about lots of characters. You can have your Damien, but moving on from the dating sims, since I know you haven't been doing as much of that lately with
Yeah.
Minecraft. How did you? That's kind of another one. Did you? I don't remember. Did you play that a lot before you started streaming? Did you get in that recently?
I had played it before with my husband. We had one by ourselves, just us two, fucking around and shit. But I had never joined one with a bunch of people who like knew how to build and knew literally everything about the game. Like my husband knows more than I do. But the last time we played together, I really just fucked around and like hung out in my woodland mansion, which I'm really obsessed with this time around because I want that again. Uh, but everyone's super talented, knows what they're doing, builds like farms and shit. Like, I'm gonna go build an automatic XP farm and chicken fryer, and I'm like, uh, I'm gonna plant a carrot. I had to look up how to make a carrot farm. So that tells you how much I know about the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat where like I played it off and on kind of as because I mean it's been out for like over a decade now or something. I don't know. But
Mhm.
like I've played it off and on through over the years, but I never really got super into it. And it's just kind of one of those games that like I don't know, it feels like if you're a VTuber, you like have to play it at some point. That's not true. I mean, I'm not telling any VTubers out there that you have to play Minecraft, but it's just like, there's so many Minecraft servers that I feel like a lot of VTubers are a part of kind of building things together that and they have all like there's so many like you said, there's like all those automatic XP farm stuff that like I had no idea how to build. And you see that in a lot of other VTuber servers as well. They kind of just, I guess it kind of makes sense because it's a game where like you can multiplayer, you can do collabs together without actually doing collabs together. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like you can build stuff together.
And everybody's always doing something, so it's like everybody's always on the server doing shit and like, oh, someone's here today. We didn't plan this collab, but you're come on in, say hi.
Let's go on an adventure.
Yeah, really.
What's the? It doesn't have to be in the server that you're in, but it can be. What's the most impressive thing you've seen built in Minecraft?
Well, it actually is the one I'm in. Spooter, he goes by Albany as well. He is super fucking talented at building everything, and he built this huge ash mushroom tower, and only had creative for the tail end of it, and it's fucking massive, and I mean massive, like huge. He built a clock tower. Really, just anything that Spooter makes is fantastic. He knows everything about the game, and I props to him because I built a fucking concrete tomb and was tired.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Spooter's in the server that I run as well with Pixelmon stuff. I don't think he's built anything super massive quite yet in mine, but it's definitely like I have creative because I'm the server owner, and I built stuff, and like it took me like 2 days to build my house. And he's over there like getting all this stuff done within the first day he was on the server. Already had like some of the best equipment in the game and was ready to go.
Yeah, same in our server. Like I think he's only had creative once or twice, and everything else he's done on his own. And oh my god.
Yep, that sounds about right. Shout out to Spooter.
Big shout out.
But yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think. So, what would you? I know you've been kind of busy lately, so this might be a little difficult to answer. But what would you say like the favorite content that you've done recently would be? Actually, we'll just say what's like the favorite content you've done. Period. Make it a little bit easier.
I was gonna say recently the only thing I've played is Minecraft. um Seriously, going back, I keep mentioning it every time, but that uninvited stream that I did where you and I first started talking, you really fucking made me laugh. And I think the reason I like that stream so much is because I expected absolutely nobody to show up. It's a game from like the fucking 80s on NES. And it's like point click collect shit, and I really didn't expect anybody to show up. But you were there, Zeffy was there. I was laughing so hard. It's one of my favorite games in general. So just being able to share it with people who actually really seem to like it and have fun, that was amazing for me.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah, it's funny because you when you said uninvited, I was like, oh yeah, that's a game. I like totally forgot about the game entirely because like I admittedly had no idea what it was, and I honestly wasn't really there for the game. I was just there to watch whatever you were streaming that day. And but yeah, I do remember That was a lot of fun because I was just cracking jokes about it. Like towards the end of that game, spoilers, I guess, for anybody who actually might care about a game that came out a while ago. Um, there was like one of the demon jump out the window, or your sister jumped out the window, or something like that.
The
And I was
sister
just like,
jumped
how
out.
the heck did this like possessed lady just yeet herself out the window?
Oh, it was great. I really, really love that stream.
But yeah, those streams are kind of the best. Where like I have, maybe you can relate to this. I assume you can, but maybe not. Like there's streams where like I think they'll do well, and then they like kind of tank, or like they don't do as well as I think they will. And then there's streams that like I don't think will do very well, that I end up like really enjoying because people will come in and chat about just random stuff. It happens like all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I have that too. Um, Sometimes you think you're gonna do really, really good, and it's just like, it's okay. And then like you have this game on the NES, and it's like, oh, everyone's here, everyone's having a great time. I did not expect this, hit out of the ballpark. Really proud of that.
So that's good. I'm glad that's still one of your favorites. I'm a little suspicious that maybe you're just setting this and you're remembering it for being on my video, but I'll let that slide.
No, seriously, when I go back and think of all the streams I've done, that is one of my favorites. I always love doing collabs with people, but in terms of like solo, that really hit a deep soft spot for me because like I said, I really did love that game growing up. I didn't grow up in the NES era, but my brothers did. So I played all the old games and stuff, and that was one of my favorites. I've always been into spooky shit, so it was good to be able to share that with people.
Good. I'm glad. And then when you become, big famous streamer, you can play it again and share it with all the new people that you have around.
When I'm glad you have faith in me.
um, with you mentioned, so I guess yeah, we're gonna start throwing some friends under the bus. You said you really like collabs, so I'm gonna make you answer what's your favorite collab that you've done so far.
The Monster Prom one.
I thought that might be the case.
Yeah, it was
Good.
just really fun to make someone stoic like Rigel play it and hear him do a Tony the Tiger impression. Oh, that is peak.
Oh yeah, that's right. The voices. They had everybody doing different voices for the different characters. I forgot about that part.
It
Yeah,
was so much fun.
that definitely amped things up.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I was when I streamed it the other day, uh, I know how raunchy it is, but I decided I was gonna read it out all myself and kind of like forgot what I was gonna be reading out half the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
started reading these sentences and I'm just like, okay, maybe this was a bad idea.
I didn't get in trouble. It's okay.
Well, yeah, no, it's like I wasn't so much like a trouble idea as much as like, wow, this is like not any of the content that I have ever put out before.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly a very unsay so VTuber.
which is so weird because you're friends with so many degenerates.
It's true. I watch over the degenerates. Just like I'm like their shepherd, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we can talk a little bit more about the say so stuff in a little bit, but I am curious since we're kind of still on the content side of things. Um, Now that you're somewhat settling back in, I hope. What kind of future plans do you have? Or do you have any future plans?
Honestly, I have no future plans. I want to get through the games that I started. Like I have Death and Taxes. I have one more thing to finish. I have Papers, Please, which I think would be really fun. And I definitely want to do more Minecraft because there's always shit happening. There's so many fucking war crimes and like there's a storyline. But in terms of future plans, I really don't know. I'm going with the flow right now. I've learned that if you make plans, they're just gonna be broken. So, learn to be like water. Just go with it.
Fair enough. Wow, Bruce Lee quote coming out from Vivi. That's not something I expected.
Oh, ooh.
So many layers. But you also mentioned the war crimes, and now I'm thinking like, oh man, do we need to get the hashtag Vivi did nothing wrong trending? Is that what we're gonna?
I didn't do anything wrong. Wait, I didn't do. Did I do a double negative?
I
I don't.
didn't do anything wrong. No, I think you're okay.
I'm okay. Okay. I'm not in a position to like think about wording right
I guess
now.
like it would be a double negative if you didn't do nothing wrong.
Oh, okay.
If you
That's the
didn't do
one. That's
anything
the
wrong, it's fine. But if you didn't do nothing, yeah. So it would be did
one.
nothing
Okay.
wrong. You're good.
Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. I didn't incriminate myself yet.
For context for everybody listening, there's some stuff going on in the server where Vivi may or may not have accidentally involved some or been involved in someone's death. The
No.
jury's still out on this one.
Innocent. Vivi's innocent.
So I get if you don't have any future plans, I'll still ask because I think you can think of your answer. You have some time, but if there was if you could make like any type of content without worrying about like money, time, like it would be a guaranteed success. What kind of content do you think you would make? Like, would there be a kind of special stream you would do or a special video?
Any kind of thing with no detriment to myself.
No repercussions, so it could be extremely unsay so if you want to go that route.
Yeah. I kind of just want to go balls to the wall and play a whole bunch of like these Japanese dating sims where sex scenes are involved and weird shit because I I want to play a bunch of dating sims, but the thing is like the really crazy ones are crazy for a reason, and that reason is that they're not allowed with TOS being involved. So I'd like to show people my reaction to this crazy shit without worrying about getting in trouble.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know of any streamers that do this specifically, but there probably are some streamers that stream on the not Twitches of the world. And do like visual novel playthroughs. But that would definitely be interesting. There are some that you might be able to get away with, but you'd have to do like a lot of research, and it would definitely kind of be over restricting, probably
Yeah,
reacting to some of them.
yeah.
Because there's well, I'm thinking about it. Like Doki Doki Literature Club is okay. That doesn't have like etchy or sexual stuff in it as much, but it does have some pretty crazy things.
Yeah. I've learned that like when it comes to death, people are pretty okay, but like everyone's a prude about sexual shit. Like if you really think about it, showing your nipple on stream is a no-no, but showing somebody hanging, it's like, okay. It's like, what?
It's like you're right. It's just it was funny to me thinking about the fact that you're a skeleton talking about how death is okay on the stream. Was like, well, I guess you would know.
Right, right.
But yeah, no, yeah. I mean, this wasn't exactly where I envisioned this conversation going, but we could talk about like Western sensibilities in the sense that like we've been very desensitized to violence and that kind of, especially in kind of the gaming sphere. But you know, anything with any kind of sexual undertones is just often still viewed with very in a negative light, so, at least especially when it comes to streaming.
Yeah. Yeah. Like people are more desensitized to hearing about a school shooting than like seeing a woman nursing her baby. That is fucked.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that does make me kind of curious, though. Now I'm kind of curious on your opinion on like the hot tub stream craze that kind of took over Twitch. Do you have a particular opinion? Do you care at all?
I do have an opinion, and I think I'm in the popular opinion in saying like I don't I don't really mind when women want to use their bodies to get money and shit. I don't That's fair. It's fair enough if people are willing to give you money to do something and nobody's getting hurt. Uh, have at it.
Yeah, I think that's a. I would. I think that's a fairly popular sentiment. I think with the hot tub streams, at least from my perspective, there's kind of multiple layers to it because you know there's the aspect of women, especially in kind of the streaming sphere, having difficulty breaking out. What's kind of the way I'm going to phrase this? But it's pretty. It's pretty obvious, I think, for most people that in most cases, women have a harder time online than in just kind of any profession than men do. So they should be allowed to do whatever they can to get ahead. And I think the other side of that, though, with Twitch specifically, is whether or not Twitch is the right place to do that. I think that's where a lot more of the contention comes from with the hot tub streams.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
For me personally, I kind of just it doesn't like I don't really think Twitch is a good place for it. But I think Twitch has a crap ton of other problems with the platform. I'm more angry at the platform itself than I am with the people taking advantage of it. If that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the hypocrisy of uh I don't know if I want to say this, but there is some favoritism for a certain group of people over another group of people, where if one group of people does something very heavily sexual, it's okay, and another group does it, and it's suddenly against TOS and very strict. Oh, no, 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 you can't do that. There's favoritism.
Yeah, that's definitely true with Twitch. If you make Twitch a lot of money, they might not outright say it, but they are a lot more lenient towards people who make them a lot of money than people who don't. Because even not just talking about like the more sexual stuff, we could talk about like DMCA and that kind of thing. Like they can get away with a lot more than a small streamer could. One thing in particular I'm thinking of is with like media reaction streams, I guess you could call them.
Mm.
Like technically speaking, watching like a YouTube video on a Twitch stream is like in a real big gray area. Like you can get copyright claimed on that from the person who owns the YouTube video because in a
Uh,
sense you're profiting off of what they're doing.
uh,
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 so the only reason I'm bringing this up is just because of the fact that like a lot of the big, you see all the big Twitch streamers do it in some
oh
form
yeah.
almost, and but the smaller streamers will get hit with stuff all the time, and like they're all really afraid to do it because it's not technically allowed by Twitch, but Twitch
Mm-hmm.
doesn't care because they're making money off of it.
That's true. That's true. And your voice is small, and you don't have all these numbers behind you to help push you into the light. So you kind of just fade into the blackness with your channel being deactivated. And Twitch is like, we didn't see that.
did you did you always know you wanted to stream on Twitch versus YouTube? Did you kind of go through a research phase with that, or was there other options for streaming for you?
Um, this is before Vivi. I explored YouTube in making videos and such. I never did anything super huge like this, and that account has since been, long gone. But after joining VTubing, I just sort of did what the popular thing was. I thought about doing YouTube at first because Hololive was my introduction to VTubing, other than Kizuna AI, but that was a long time ago.
Right.
So I was like, I'll do it on YouTube because these people are doing it here. But then everybody in the indie sphere that I was in went into Twitch, and I looked at what you needed to be an affiliate, and I was like, this seems much more promising for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I think again, I don't want to make sweeping generalizations per se, but I will feel like that's how most indie VTubers kind of did it. Like they got introduced through one of the bigger companies, which are often on YouTube, even if it wasn't live. Maybe they saw clips, and then they did some research, but and eventually kind of ended up on Twitch because that's where a lot more of the indie scene is. There are some indies
Yeah.
on YouTube as well, but for the most part, it seems like the indies are kind of on Twitch. But that is a good kind of transition out of the more heavy topics of like what and kind of inspired you to be a VTuber. If you want to talk about
um,
that story.
well, it wasn't like I ever went into this wanting it or like being like, oh, this would be fun. I really just was on YouTube one day, going through a YouTube hole, and I kept getting recommended this clip of Pecora. And I was like, I guess I gotta watch it because it's been on my YouTube for like 3 weeks. No, it wasn't that long, but So I watched it and I really fell in love with that type of thing. Like you can be anybody you want to be and sit here and be like a kawaii anime girl, ooh woo, and just play video games and have a good time. And it was really freaking cool to me how they were able to move and shit. And I have this thing where when something gets in my brain, it doesn't leave. So in the example of like dyeing my hair, I was like, I want to have black hair. I want to have black hair. I want to have black hair. I was like, nah, maybe not today. And then it just kept entering my head. And I was like, I'm dyeing it today. So I just did it. And the thing with the thing with learning about VTubing, it's like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to draw this. And so I ended up drawing it. And I was like, I gotta rig it now. I gotta rig it now. And then I rigged it. And it balls to the wall. I rigged my model in like 3 days.
Wow, nice.
I was obsessed with the idea.
I remember. I want to say it was your debut, or it might have been your introduction. It was. I it's like I'm remembering now. You like you'd mentioned that like you just wanted it really badly, like to do to, to be a VTuber and to start streaming, and you kind of get that way with the things that you want.
Yeah, like things just come to me and I am so fucking stubborn. It will always be in my brain no matter if I push it out or not, or if I don't say something, or if I say something, it's always there. I just really wanted it, and not to get too like sad or anything, but I didn't really have much going for me before VTubing, like career wise.
Gotcha.
Um, so I needed something to do and keep me busy. And God, I'm so grateful because I found so many people that I can just hang out with and chill with and have this thing in common with. Like we're all a part of a huge puzzle. I'm finally the puzzle piece to something.
Finally get to fit in somewhere. I
Yes.
like that. Yeah, that's really that's kind of the power of VTubing. You can
Mhm.
it's definitely one of those communities that I feel like there's so like it's such a wide community. Like I was kind of browsing through Twitch and Twitter the other day, and it's like hard to get a full picture of just how freaking big VTubing is at this point.
Yeah.
There's so many indies out there that like I've never heard of, and I try and interact with a lot of VTubers. I'm kind of bad about that. I feel like where like I try and interact
Mhm.
with too many people at once, so I end up like don't forming quite as many deep connections, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
the Gremlin crew I know is that's kind of what we call the crazy VTubers that have formed around Vivi, shall we say, is a very tight knit group, and it's really cool to see those communities kind of form throughout VTubing.
Yeah.
Um, with the I guess before we kind of move on though, I did want to ask what you've kind of mentioned that you were into spooky things. What inspired the skelegirl aesthetic? Was there like you mentioned you really want to be into VTubing, but what kind of got you to VV, if that makes sense?
The the thing with me and starting up my VTuber, so I actually have another rigged model. Hey, I'm obsessive. It's just a bust. It is a butterfly girl.
Oh,
But
Zeffy, hello.
I know, I told her about this. I was like, I was gonna be you. Um, but yeah, so I wanted to be something really, really unique. And that sounds a little bit conceited, being like, I want people to pay attention to me. Hello, I'm unique. And I did a lot of research, like, okay, what about like being a hamster girl? And I ended up finding a whole bunch of hamsters. And I was like, what about a cyclops? Like, that's a bit different. And I looked it up and I found some cyclopses. But then when I looked up skeletons, I found Konzetsu, and
Okay,
that
yeah.
was the only big one that I found. So I was like, this is kind of an untapped market. And I've always loved skeletons. I've always loved drawing them and how they look. And just, I don't know, they've always been sort of beautiful to me. That's a little macabre, but I just loved how they looked, and heavily inspired by Monster High. Hello, I was really obsessed with that series as a kid, and one of my favorite dolls. They did so fantastic on her. She is all bones. Like you can take off her clothes and you see rib cage, and it was fantastic, and that's always stuck with me. Um, just the way she looks, she's one of my favorite just because of that. They put so much effort into her. I was like, I'm gonna be a skeleton. So, it started out as me just kind of wanting something really, really unique and untapped.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think like I've seen a few other skeletons around, but definitely not nearly as many as I feel like I see like hamsters or cyclopses. But I don't think it's conceited to kind of want to be unique. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best judge of that because I absolutely went into VTubing with the idea that like I needed to do something to kind of stand out, and like there are a crap ton of space VTubers, and I've always really been into space. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just be a giant star with a face. Because I haven't seen that before, and I haven't seen that yet. There are definitely a lot of star VTubers, but no literal star VTubers. Mostly just have like star backgrounds. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think especially with like I said, there's so many VTubers. Like if you want to have at least even a little bit of success, I feel like you need to do something to kind of stand out. I think I guess for me, the primary drive was kind of like I needed something to get people in the door, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
like I feel like I can make okay content. It definitely could be better, but the key is always like getting people to actually click on the links and actually want to watch. Because there's so many VTubers that like they kind of just becomes numb after a while. They don't like really see all the links like, hey, watch me here, hey, watch this, hey, look at this, hey, look at this thing. But if they see like, oh, star, or oh, look, oh, skeleton, I haven't seen that before, they'll at least click on it.
Yeah.
Maybe they might not be interested in the content, and that's fine, but at least they got that initial click.
Yeah. And the thing with people is like I truly believe that everybody has like a really good personality. It's just that you need to get people to watch you. Like you said, you need to get people in the door. And e- everybody has a good personality, and it's not necessarily that your personality sucks or anything while you're not getting numbers, but it may sound discouraging. You do kind of need a niche or something particular about you that gets people to click on you, like you said. um like Lodo, for example. He is just like a regular average guy VTuber, but what he is doing, the inviting people on, talking about movies, that is untapped. Nobody's seen that before. At least I haven't. Like being a movie VTuber focused on that. So like there's a million cat girls and stuff, and for anybody new in the community, if you want to join, you may want to be like some cat girl, dog girl, like bunny person, but if you are truly upset by not getting huge numbers, you need to do something that hasn't been seen before.
Yeah, I would say I agree with that. I've definitely seen some other VTubers do movie stuff, but I haven't seen them go into it as hard as Lodo does. Because Lodo
Mhm.
is like pretty much exclusively about movies, which is good. That's he's got his niche. It's just
Mhm.
I haven't seen it on that level. And I do agree. Like I'm not saying that like you can't be a cat girl or you can't do the things that other VTubers doing. It's just
Yeah.
for me it was something I wanted to get more people in the door. If you are a cat girl, you just need to work that much harder at being at differentiating yourself from the thousands of other cat girls that there are. It's kind of is more what we're saying, I think.
Yeah. And we're not trying to be like mean and discourage you and stuff. Like if you're going into VTubing simply and just for fun, like be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many times on Twitter people being like, I don't get big numbers. Oh, people are biased towards Hololive. Oh, people don't pay attention to me. I'm not getting the numbers this person does, or this person does, or this person does. And if that's something you truly value, you value getting numbers and growing at a substantial rate, you really have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. So where do you see all this VTuber stuff heading? like you can talk about kind of personally, but I'm kind of talking more industry side as well. Like, do you see this continuing to blow up? Do you think we're going to reach a point where there's too many VTubers?
I think we are nearing the climax. I still think it's going to grow bigger and bigger, but I do think that there is a decline among the horizon.
Interesting. Yeah, I think for me, as far as VTubing goes, I think there is still growth. Like, I think it's still possible. I don't think we've reached the point of oversaturation yet, but I can see it does seem like every day now it's getting harder and harder to kind of stand out among the crowd. But that said, I mean, like, I don't necessarily think in the next few years that VTubing will die off or anything like that, or that it'll be impossible to become a VTuber. Because I mean, you have to think about like YouTube and Twitch have been around for a decade plus now, and there's still streamers every year that are blowing up from seemingly nowhere. Obviously, they put in a shit ton of work. I'm not saying people can get famous overnight. It happens, but very rarely. But
Yeah.
so I think there's still. It's kind of. I think for me, it's more interesting to see like where VTubing is going to mature. I guess. Like, how is Whole Life? Like, they've kind of slowed down their growth lately. What other VTuber groups are we going to see kind of try and rise up to compete with Whole Life? What other indies? Because there's some really fantastic indies that I don't feel like get talked about enough. Like, there's Juniper Actius, Ego Cider. She's a fantastic moth VTuber. It's like she's like one of the biggest indies I know. There's of course Kizuna Ai is still around, and I don't think she gets
Mm.
talked about enough considering she's like the progenitor of VTubing essentially.
Yeah. She's like
um,
OG OG, unless you count Miku as OG VTuber.
because like there are some from before, and I've seen arguments that like you could argue that like Annoying Orange was the first VTuber.
Oh.
So like I'm not gonna say that like she's the end all be all, but I mean as far as this like current wave of VTubing,
Yeah.
she's kind of the matriarch, shall we say? So there's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
still a future for VTubing.
Oh, definitely. And what I meant by the declining action, I just mean like it's not gonna be because it's a craze right now. It is.
Yeah.
People want to jump on the bandwagon. So the people who stick it out are gonna be the people who are actually like interested in the anime and all this shit. Like you see a whole bunch of companies like Netflix and shit getting their VTubing shit on, and they're doing it because it's popular, not necessarily because they care about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I definitely see already it kind of feels like the explosion, I guess you could say, with VTubing is kind of dying down in the sense that like we're kind of reaching a point where it's like VTubing was the hot thing to talk about all the time for like the past year, and now it's kind of
Mm.
just like it exists. Like yeah, it's cool, everyone still likes it for the most part, but it isn't like the tip of everyone's tongue type of deal. And I mean, we are reaching. It's crazy to think about, but I think next month is the 1 year anniversary from when Holo Yen debuted. So
Ooh.
we're reaching the 1 year mark already for like kind of the Western explosion. Obviously, it's been around longer than that, but for this past like year. So plus, there's not as many like as far as like the big companies go. They haven't had as many big announcements lately. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Iris just debuted fairly recently for Holo En. Niji Sanji, I guess, is working on their EN branch. I don't know if they. I can't remember what's going on with them. I haven't been following the news as much in the VTubing sphere.
Yeah, to be honest and to be fair, I haven't really kept up with the like official side of VTubing. I'm pretty much an exclusive indie VTuber watcher, and that's just because I watch my friends. So before all this, I was able to see the professional quote unquote sphere of things, and now I'm just like, oh hey, Robot's got like 200 followers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same way. I still watch the clips from a lot of the bigger stuff, and I usually catch the news because I get around. But I definitely, as far as my like watch one of the live streams that I actually watch and the people that I interact with, it's all in like the low indie sphere.
Yeah, just friends and stuff.
Which is good. I think that's how most indie VTubers operate as well.
Yeah.
So, is there? So I guess also you talked to us about this a little bit, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is your answer. But with is there a game that kind of most drastically changed your life or got you into gaming itself, if that makes sense?
Into gaming itself. I don't know because that was a really long time ago. I've been playing video games ever since I was little. Like I mentioned, my brothers are much older than me. I'm the youngest of six kids. So I was born in 99. So like my oldest brother is much older than me, and I've been playing NES, SNES, PlayStation 2, all this shit my entire life. But in terms of a game that like stuck with me or changed me, I guess that'd be Humaniki. One of my first horror RPGs that really, really sticks inside your brain. And if you played it, you know.
You know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Interesting. Okay, well, I can definitely see that reflected in the skeleton and the macabre theme for.
Yeah.
but but yeah, with it's always interesting because I don't know if people really think about like the games that got them in. Like I'm similar in the sense that at least as long as I've been interacting with Earth, I've been gaming from a very early time. So like it's kind of hard for me to pin down one game that like got me into gaming per se. It's like, oh, I've always been a gamer. But there are definitely games that like kind of stick with you. Like for me it's kind of hate like Halo got me into shooters, the very first Halo
Mm,
game. The early Age of Empires games got me into strategies, the early StarCraft games. Like there's definitely it like you can kind of pick out individual games. So I always like talking to people about the games that kind of hit them with nostalgia, I guess you could say.
yeah.
Is there? You mentioned Monster High, so I'm kind of curious. Is there like a movie or a TV show that has done similar, like kind of it really impacted you?
Mm.
It's okay if there isn't.
Well,
I was just curious because
well, I guess what I could say on the horror front is I've always, like I mentioned earlier, I've always been into horror and spooky things, and I don't know where that came from. Like my mom's not really, no, my mom loves horror movies, but she's not one to sit there and be like, "Ooh, I saw a ghost the other day." But I've always been into like real ghost stories, real shit happening, freaky shit, everything happening, cryptids and balls to the wall, freaky shit. But when I was younger, like Child's Play always sort of tormented me to the point where I couldn't even go into Spencer's without like throwing a fit to my mom. I was like, I can't go in there. They have a Chucky doll. But like that fear of that movie has turned into infatuation. I love that series so much. And it's just, I've mentioned this to Lodo when we were talking about it. It's so strange that it started as something that scared the ever living shit out of me and turned into something that is my favorite horror series of all times. I could talk about it all day. I love Chucky. I have a little figure of him. I got the whole box set. Oh.
in before Vivi has just like a little Chucky prop that she has on screen. She just carries around all over the place. That's
Pull
really
out.
interesting. I guess like maybe like the fear of it kind of went away over time, but like the memory of it being so strong kind of stuck with you. So like it just kind of slowly transitioned into nostalgia, I guess, or something. That's
Yeah,
my
I think so.
non-therapist thought on the psychology of Vivi.
Wait, is this therapy? Are we recording?
No. Whoops, forgot it. Goodbye, everybody. I guess we're kind of on the subject, but we can kind of get a little bit more with the with Vivi's lore. I'm curious because I guess I'll let you explain it. about how your lore has evolved since you started streaming.
Okay, so at first, all I knew was that I was dead. And this is the true story for this. She doesn't have any memories of her life before her death because I wanted to start VTubing as soon as possible and had no fucking idea. So I was just
Hmm.
like, she just won't know what happened to her before death. It's mysterious. Now I know who she was and what happened. That will be revealed later. The only thing I've publicly revealed is that she did die from drowning.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you like. I know you probably have an announcement stream or that kind of stuff where we talk more about the lore. I wasn't sure if you wanted to get too into it, but it's definitely. I'm kind of the same way. Like I think that's kind of common. Like there's definitely VTubers out there that go really hard in their lore, and it's really interesting reading that stuff. Then the other side of things, you have VTubers that like don't care about the lore at all, and just kind of go for the mysterious route, as you put it. I'm
Yeah.
definitely more on the mysterious side of things because anytime anybody asks me how I'm able to stream or like how I'm able to drink water or how I'm able to do literally anything that I do, my answer
Same,
is different
same.
like every single time. It's kind of just my running gag at this point. I just come up with an answer on the spot. I've been telekinetic. I've been somebody's imagination. So it's fun to just kind of play around with the lore aspects of things.
Mm,
But it is cool to also kind of. I know another friend of ours has been kind of really building up events and lore stuff, Major Freedom. It is cool to kind of
hmm.
start building up a story over the course of your streaming as you're doing.
Yeah.
So I think I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the event that kind of brought us and the Gremlin Crew together, which was known as V Harmony. It was a while ago, so we don't have to talk too much about the event itself. But I was curious from your perspective, you know, being the one who orchestrated the whole thing essentially. What it did it kind of could you talk a little bit about it and did it out at all like you expected?
It turned out better than I could have ever imagined. And I sincerely mean that. I'm gonna get fucking sappy because V Harmony absolutely changed my life. I was on Twitter for a while before this and getting excited about talking to people, but I had the people that I saw around, like I've known Fufu since basically my beginning. Now we're like really good friends, but I've known about him since the beginning and I've known about people, but I never really knew them or were able to call them my friends until I really started up the V-Harmony thing. So it it just started as a tiny idea and like VTubing, like dyeing my hair, it was something I had to do. I constantly posted on Twitter like, I want to do a karaoke stream. Okay, but like can we do that karaoke stream though? Okay, yeah, but seriously, like the karaoke stream. So, got obsessive with that and I made my Discord, I believe, exclusively to do that. So what I did was I just started inviting people that I saw around in the sphere, people who may have briefly talked to me, people who hung around me, and bringing people into my Discord like changed me for the better. I have made friends who were there for me through thick and thin and people I want to change for the world because of this whole thing. So like the very first night, Solaris, you were one of the fucking OGs. You were there the first time.
Yeah, I want to say that I was one of the very first people in your Discord. I don't remember if I was the actual first, but I think I was up there.
I think you might have been because I very quickly made you a mod because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I've been a part of Discord servers before,
Right.
but making one was another hurdle. I have a better grip on it now. I kind of know what I'm doing. Still, maybe should get some bots set up and stuff so I don't have to manually give people tags, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, you were one of the OGs. It was you, Nixie, Freedom, Neon, and Phantom? Was there anybody else in the
Uh,
OG, like, that first day when my microphone wouldn't work
oh,
or my
yeah, I
connection was
forgot
shit?
about that.
Yeah.
Phantom was definitely there. I don't that sounds right. It was Sebi there?
No, he came later.
Yeah, I think that's right, because there weren't a ton of us.
Yeah, we all hung out, like, the whole night and took, personality quizzes and shit, and, like, the BDSM test the first
Oh,
night we met each
yeah.
other on
That's right.
fucking
Yep. We took the
Voice.
BDSM test. Talked about some really not strange things per se, but strange things to talk about with people that you literally just started interacting with.
Yeah, there were, like I'm not gonna say who or what was said, but there was, like, some heavy emotional baggage that we all shared with each other, and
Yeah, I think
we had just met.
yeah, it's like I mean a lot of us like I definitely had interacted with Freedom before. There was I don't think I interacted with everybody though, but some of us had like interacted with each other, but not we never in voice chat. It was all just like text stuff, and
Yeah.
like it definitely was not on that level. But
It was all cordial stuff, like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? What's going on?" But then, like,
right.
we all jump into voice chat and we're like, "Okay, are you a dom or a sub?" And it's like
Excuse me.
but we were all, like, perfectly okay with it too. It was very weird to form that connection that quickly, but I'm happy I did because I still talk to all of you to this day.
Yeah, well, it's like I think something that's kind of maybe lost on people who don't actually stream themselves is that streaming can actually be really isolating. Like you'd think like, oh, you have people talking with you all the time, which is true, but talking to your chat isn't really the same thing as talking like having a deep conversation with somebody else that knows exactly what you're going through in a
Yeah.
sense. Because like there's difficulties that I'm sure all of us have as streamers and VTubers that we don't want to ever really talk to our chat about because that would be like really off-putting to say the least. But being able to talk to that like to other streamers about that kind of stuff, especially when you don't already have somebody else, because like I think like the Gremlin Crew coming together kind of was a perfect storm in a sense that like a lot of the people there didn't really have other close VTuber friends that they could kind of chat with just about everyday things or like or problems that they're having.
Yeah. We all were kinda like a ragtag group of people that just came together. I never came up to people and said, "Hey, you wanna join the Gremlin Crew?" No, everybody who is in the Gremlin Crew popped in and clicked.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like I said, it started with V Harmony, just getting everybody in the same area, and then
Yeah.
after that, it was just kind of people interacting that became the Gremlin Crew. Do you remember where the Gremlin Crew name came from? Because I don't. I can't remember.
I think it was Sebi who did it because he constantly said he was like a crackhead gremlin, like the
Hmm.
movie Gremlins. So I think he first came up with that. And then we all just kinda rolled with it like, "Yeah, we are those fucking green asses causing trouble within the neighborhood."
Yeah, that's I like I said, I cannot remember. It's like I know we like referred to each other and ourselves as gremlins from time to time
Yeah.
before we called ourselves the Gremlin Crew. But I can't remember how it like became quote unquote official, or at least an easy way to refer to everybody without like saying the group or Vivi's squad, Vivi's
Yeah.
Angels.
And and that's something like, I know I kind of brought us all together, but I want even my own Discord, I want it to be ours. I don't want it to be mine. I want the Gremlin Squad to be our squad. So it always kind of makes me uncomfortable in a sense when people like thank me for bringing them together or say stuff like, "Oh, this is Vivi's group." Like, no, it's the Gremlin Squad. It's us. I I'd always joke about being like the princess and the queen of the group. But it's us. It's ours, which is why I'm always so adamant about you guys share what you got going on in the group. Post about yourself, advertise yourself. This is our thing, like the harmony. And I wouldn't be as successful as I am without you guys. So Like, thanks. It's not all my thing, it's ours.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I definitely like I definitely understand the feeling of like it's kind of tough because like on the one hand, even if you don't necessarily like it or don't want to acknowledge it, you did kind of bring everybody together. But at the same time, I do understand like you didn't intentionally like form this group wanting to be the queen of it or like wanting to rule over it or be the leader of it. You just, had people form around you that all started interacting with each other. So it's like you're the
Yeah.
cause but not the queen bee, shall we say.
I mean, I'll take that, Ted, if you wanna call me Queen Vivi, like
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, just not. You don't want any of the responsibility. I think we've joked about that before. It's like you can call me whatever, like the titles and all that stuff. I'll take that, but I don't want to like actually have to lead things.
Yeah, I just don't want people to treat me as like some sort of god or somebody who is above them or something. Like but when people talk to me, this sounds kind of conceited, but I get the sense that like they might be intimidated by me because I will admit that I did blow up pretty quickly. Like I'm not some fucking hollow or some shit like that,
Hmm.
but in terms of the people around me, I did get numbers pretty quickly, and to answer anybody who asked me, I don't know. I don't know how. I really don't. Um, I'm not. I'm just a human. I'm just a human who got lucky, and I'll say that until I'm red in the face. I'm not some god or some major manic pixie dream girl. I'm me.
That's interesting. I'm actually really glad you said that because it kind of gives me two thoughts. The first is I definitely like I don't know how to say this nicely. I definitely don't have that as much with you as far as like the reverence for a higher streamer. Maybe it's just because like I feel like I kind of got in early or something like that, or like I just kind of went for it and started interacting with you and knew you and didn't care about the numbers. But I definitely understand where people can be kind of intimidated by like if I see that somebody has like 1,000 followers on Twitter or Twitch, I will definitely be hesitant to interact with them just because like I don't want to come across as like clout chasing, I guess,
Yeah,
because I
that's
definitely
fair.
don't have that kind of clout. So it's like if I'm interacting with them, like I'm sure most people's first thought is like, oh, there's this tiny VTuber who just wants to interact with me for more followers. Um, so I can understand that side of things, but at the same time, it's like I know you already, and I feel like there's a lot of YouTubers I could say this for, where like they don't actually. Maybe that's like they don't actually see it that way. That's the way I see it, but that's not necessarily the way that they see it. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. And then the other thought I had, and I don't know how I can say this without coming across as kind of creepy, I guess, is that like I've definitely looked kind of through your analytics before.
Oh.
Not like directly, like obviously I don't have access to your panels or anything like that, but like I've definitely looked kind of over what you've done in the past to see if I could figure out like how you grew, if that makes sense. And my so I guess I can kind of try and answer for anybody that's asking. So Vivi, direct all questions to your accountant Solaris. But my thoughts are like I noticed that you were super active on Twitter before like even really started streaming on Twitch at all, or like really got into Twitch streaming. Because like your
Yeah.
number of tweets, I don't remember exactly what it is now because I haven't been paying that much attention, but it's like well into the thousands.
Yeah.
So that's definitely like I'm not gonna say that like people should go out to Twitter and literally just start spamming 1,000 tweets in like 2 days because obviously that was over relatively like it was over some time. But
Yeah.
definitely like go out there and start interacting with people. I think is kind of what you did without really knowing it. You were just interacting because like a lot of it was networking threads, and those are a little bit different nowadays than they used to be. But
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 and it's weird to say than it used to be because it's only been since, like,
right, it's
May
like less
or
than six
April.
months. Yeah.
Yeah. But it changed so much, and I guess I was just lucky enough to join when those were like huge because I was posting in every single one of those and commenting on a whole bunch of people's stuff because, like anything, you got to network. Um, so I did do a lot of that, but at the same time, a lot of other people were networking too, and like,
Right. So like, why did it work for you and not for others? Maybe
yeah,
that's where the skelegirl part came in. I didn't analyze it that deeply. It's just like that starting off at a baseline because like I know for me personally, I think I still have less than like 1,000 tweets because I don't tweet very often.
I think I have like 3,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and we started around relatively the same time. You were definitely more active on Twitter before I was. I think you got
Mm,
going a little bit before I started, but
oh, I got the official numbers.
oh god.
4,492 tweets. Ooh, 4,000.
Yep. I was gonna say that's it. Like, and you started tweeting what, like this year?
I started in April.
Yeah. I was gonna say I started tweeting I think around April or May, and I'm at like 600 to 800. I'm not even at 1,000 yet. I'm not gonna look it up, but so
Yeah.
but the point is, it doesn't even really have to be on Twitter. Like, it's just the amount of interaction that you're getting, like, is key. Like, I mean, you have 4 times what I had, so it makes sense that you'd have a bit more people who are at least aware of your stuff, even if they're not following you. And then the other thing was I was going to say was kind of just VHarmony. Again, I know you didn't do it intentionally, but the kind of coming together of a community that, like I said, the kind of earlier, the perfect storm, where people that didn't really have a lot of other places to interact, you kind of provided that for people, which also gives you a following as kind of a side bonus.
Yeah. And another thing I'd like to touch on just quickly with that is I see people asking all the time, like, I want to be a part of a VTubing group. I want to be a part of this. We're not like a VTubing group because we're not like exclusive to one another, but at the same time, we kind of are. And if you want a group like that, it's gonna sound really shitty, but stop looking and you'll find it.
Yeah, that's true. The Gremlin Crew is kind of weird when it comes to VTubing groups because it's not official, but I do feel like you guys these days kind of really only collab with each other. So it's like
It's
you're kind
not
of your
intentional.
own, right? It's not like I mean, because the collabs a lot of times aren't even like scheduled things; they just kind of happen.
Yeah.
So it's not like you are this exclusive group, but it is kind of. I don't know of any. Again, VTubing is so wide that I'm sure others exist, but I don't really know of any other groups like that off the top of my head. Like all the other VTuber groups I see from kind of range from whole life, obviously the super professional ones, to like very small indie groups that are trying to get started. I know just because it's on topic and I've seen it recently. Like there's V Stars just opened their applications. That's one
Hmm.
of the more serious ones I've seen. It's the first one that comes to mind. So, and the Gremlin Crew isn't like that at all. It's no like application, or it's literally just like, hey, play some
Yeah.
games, jump in voice chat.
It was literally like that. Like Galactic Pinkles, which is one of the newest quote unquote members. And she really just popped in to play Minecraft and hung out in the voice chat, and again, we just clicked, and I'm perfectly happy saying that she's a member of my little crew. I said I was like, I don't want this to be my thing, and I really just said it was my crew.
Well, exactly. Like I said, you don't want any responsibility. It's just like, oh, but these are my besties. Like I have them in this box.
Yeah. We're the Heathers. Get out of here. You're not allowed.
Yeah,
Kidding.
that sounds
I'm
about
kidding.
right.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
Don't get me in trouble. But yeah, that's it. I think that also kind of comes down to what people are looking for in VTuber groups, because the key thing I think with a lot of the professional VTuber groups is that when you're looking for something like that, you're looking for people to kind of help you on the content side of things. Like they're helping you do editing for videos, they're helping schedule things. Like there's a ton of stuff that goes into a whole live or V shoujo production. Like they have agents and all sorts of that kind of stuff. They obviously,
Yeah.
we see as the audience, we see the benefits of them interacting with other people in the group, and they obviously form some really great friendships. but that's not so much because of the group. Like, the only thing the group there is the fact that they're all like forced to be together, essentially. Like, they're in the same space. So, like, if you want to form a VTubing group and all you're looking for is like the friendship side of it, just like that's kind of like a making friends thing. That has like nothing to do with like actually VTubing groups. just like go out there and make friends, and the
It's
the
just
VTubing group will
hard.
form. Yeah, I'm not gonna like it. It's just, I guess, the way you need to approach it is a little bit different. Don't go into it looking for VTubing groups, kind of like you said. Look, go out there and try and make friends, and the VTubing group will come. If you build it, VTubing group will come.
It's
um,
true. It really is true. I never went looking for people, and I know this is really, really strange for people to understand about me, but I am 1000% an introvert and I get scared making phone calls and talking to people. So, everybody in the Gremlin crew has kind of approached me, and that's really weird that I'm considered like the queen bee because I'm probably one of the most introverted, really, of everybody.
like this wasn't specifically a thought about you, but it is kind of funny because like I'm thinking about like, nobody has really ever come to me and interacted. I always have to go to them, and then a lot of the time when I like reach out to interact with somebody, I feel like I like take them by surprise, or like they're kind of like, it's not something I've really thought about before, but maybe they're just like you, where it's like they're introverted and they're like, holy crap, somebody's interacting with me, make it stop, oh my god. I always
uh,
always worried about that.
no, I like when other people talk to me online. In real life,
Right.
it's a different story.
Just like when, all right. So what I'm hearing here is that I need to figure out Vivi's personal info and give her a phone call, scare the crap out
Oh,
of her.
oh no,
Just
there's
call
been
her on
like
Discord. Nobody really does that. That's the.
that would be weird if you didn't hop in like voice chat and just called
gave
somebody
you
straight
a
up one
personal
on
call.
one.
Yeah.
That would be that would probably freak me out. I'd be like,
What do they
hi.
want?
What do you want for you want to collab?
Yeah. Oh man, that's like, that made me think of like, I remember it was a while ago on Twitter, there was somebody posting about how like a fan would just like literally call them in Discord on,
Oh
and it's
no.
just like, that's got to be like terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, obviously, part of it could just be that I am not a very big VTuber, but being a giant ball of light with no real like sex appeal, shall we say, especially also because I have a male sounding voice, I don't get like any of the crazy stuff that I see a lot of the female VTubers have to deal with, just like from fans, at least from Twitter posts. I don't interact with a ton of people that have talked to me specifically about it. I don't know if you get any of that, but
Honestly, I really don't.
not yet,
And
anyway.
oh no. I hope
like
it doesn't happen.
like I said, when you become Hololive size, which we both know is going to happen, then you're going to have to deal with all sorts of crap. But then I guess by that point, you'll have people
Um,
that can deal with that crap for you. So maybe you won't ever deal with that crap.
it
Um,
started out as me just wanting to be a Hololive member, but now I only want to do indie for the rest of my life. I don't dream about that anymore. I don't even like want to be super huge. I just want to make enough money to support myself comfortably.
yeah, that is kind of like, it, it would be kind of nice. Like, I hold no bar, like reservations against like the big VTubers. I feel like I should preface with that, but it would be kind of nice if like the indies got a little bit more support and maybe the big ones got a little bit less, kind of balance it out a little bit more so that people could, because like I'm kind of the same way. Like, I would love to be big, don't get me wrong, but if I could make enough to just support myself, that I'd be happy with that. Like, that's kind of the dream, so to say.
Yeah. You just
um,
want to do what you love.
with a, although like, I guess you kind of already answered, but it is interesting getting your perspective on like whether or not you'd want to be a VTuber in a VTubing group now, because like I've always kind of wrestled with like, if somehow I managed to get into Hololive, or like I applied and they actually accepted. I don't know if I would actually take it or not. Cause like,
Um,
go ahead.
sorry, but like if you asked me back in May or April or something, I'd be like definitely. And like I said, that's the reason that I joined with the hopes, like the far off hopes of being like, oh, I'm in Hololive. I'm an idol girl. But now, if I honestly, seriously, if I got an acceptance from them, I don't think I would take it because I can't give up Vivi and I can't give up the people that have come into Vivi's life. And I know it would be like, you could say, well, you wouldn't have to give up the people in your life, but it's like, you would though, because you would be forced into a group of other people you don't really know that you would have to collab with because they're just, it's a job now. It's not necessarily you hanging with your friends and you get a little bit of money. It's these are your coworkers. And the Hololive girls may be close with one another and love one another, and I'm sure they're friends, but it's still based upon a business relationship. And not to talk bad about them and their fans or anything, but I am grateful that I am as small as I am because when I see people in chat, I recognize them as people I hang out with every day. It's like, oh, hey, there's this person, I've seen you, I haven't seen you around. But like when your chat is floating by like 1,000 messages a minute, how can you even form a really close relationship with the individual people rather than just one big amalgamate? Oh, this is chat.
Yeah, it comes from, hey, there's that person, to chat in all capitals. That's, yeah, I definitely like. That's kind of why I was saying, like, if I got accepted or whatever, it'd be a trade off for me, because I mean, like, obviously with Whole Life, if you're still required to put out good content and all that, but like you're guaranteed recognition and success effectively. At least compared to us tiny little VTubers.
Yeah.
But you would be giving up, the personal interactions that we have, and like you could still interact with the friends that you've made, and like maybe even collab with them someday, but like it would take a lot of time and work to kind of get that to come together. No matter what, wouldn't be the same as it was
Yeah.
before. And the big thing for me, and you kind of already alluded to this, is like I would have to give up Solaris, and like like they would give me a completely different model that I would like. I'd obviously probably still have input and could work with on, like I'd create something I like, but giving up the big ball of light that I am isn't something that I really want to do.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to get people's perspectives on whether or not they would join a group like that. Obviously, with the smaller groups, that's not quite as much of a deal because a lot of them don't like require you to get rid of your model. But for the big ones, it won't happen because Whole Alive doesn't seem particularly interested in the male side of things as much anyway for me, so I don't really have to worry about that. But let's see. We did kind of. I wanted to talk about this with the Gremlin Crew. We got a little sidetracked up with VTuber groups, but kind of going back to the Gremlin Crew, could you talk a little bit about your transition from a mostly say so VTuber to not?
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to be fairly good, because I wanted to be in Hololive. That was like my intention, and like keeping my personal life sort of secretive and putting on this face of, hey, this is Vivi. She had her own birthday. She had her own everything. Now she just shares my birthday. Her birthday was October 13th, but I'm like, I want to celebrate my birthday. So now she has mine. She has my age now. She used to be a year younger than me, which I don't know why I did everything incrementally, but like one this, one off this, but I did. Um I forgot the question.
We were talking about your transition from say so to not. She's like, "What are you talking about? I've always been not say so. Like it's always been there."
They're talking about birthdays, and I'm like, what am I even going on about anymore?
So you're kind of just talking about how you kind of transitioned your lore from what you presented Vivi as to
Ye-
yourself.
Yeah, what I meant by that is like I wanted to present her as somebody that Hololive would be happy to accept one day and fitting in their little structure of like no relationships in the background. Okay, I won't mention anything about that. I won't be overly sexual. I know they do get overly sexual, but not in the way that I do with my
That's gonna say like
friends.
there's definitely allusions to it, and it is kind of funny to see how they have also like they get accepted and they're kind of say so, and then like after they've been with the company for a while, you can see them just kind of slowly devolve.
Yeah, so I started out at that because I wanted that to be something a company would be happy to accept. And I've always had the degenerate side in me, like even when I was in high school and shit, me and my friends would always joke about sex and ha 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 penis. But we would always joke about that. So that was always me. But the more comfortable I became in this community as solidifying Vivi as an extension of myself rather than a different person of myself, and the more friends that I made, the more I wanted to just like have fun and present that degenerate side of myself. And no matter how hard I try to hide it, it's there. It's my humor. It's who I am. So the thing with Monster Prom was that was the first or one of the first streams I had to make NSFW. I had to make it only for a mature audience. And it was really, really fun. I had a lot of fun. And so I was able to kind of get my outlet there, making lewd jokes and having fun, being thirsty over Damien. And I could go back to Twitter and be like, okay, I'm fine here. So then I was like, I will just make all of my dating sim games not safe for work so I can have that outlet and have fun and get all raunchy and shit and not have to worry about people watching me who shouldn't be watching me. And then I kind of just left my mature filter on my streams, and I was like, well, now I'm kind of safe to do whatever I want. I got my mature filter there. I can be like this. And on Twitter, I will be safe. And it was something that weighed on my mind because I am friends with somebody named Oxide Fufu, and he always posts the funniest shit, but I could never like it or retweet it because I didn't have that little sticker that was like I'm only for adults, and I didn't want people seeing shit on there that they shouldn't be seeing. But now in retrospect, I'm like, why would somebody follow me on Twitter and not know about my streams at least? Why would somebody underage follow me on Twitter and be happy just following me on Twitter and not see my streams? So I was like, fuck it. I want to look at my friends' posts. I want to be a degenerate on Twitter. I want to have fun. I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm a not safe for work person, and it's not that I'm like overly sexual or a lewd tuber. I'm not out there like being sultry with literally everyone. I just want to make fun jokes about like certain jars. I was gonna say it, but we'll just allude to jars and things. And
If you know, you
yeah,
know.
if you know, you know.
Yeah, it's I do remember I remember the Monster Prom streams, but then I do also remember I think it was like a chatting stream where you were chatting before you were going to play another game. And I remember you made a joke that was fairly dirty, and you were like, "Oh wait, this isn't supposed to be an 18 plus stream." Well, I guess this is an 18 plus stream now. And it was always funny, like that you had to thought about that because like I am a fairly say so VTuber, but I'm definitely crack 18 plus jokes all the time, and I just like don't care. Maybe I'm not doing things right, but it's just like if you're not 18 plus, like I can't control what you're gonna like. You're either gonna watch my stuff anyway because you're a badass in quotation marks, or you're doing like, or you're gonna leave because you know you shouldn't be there. So I don't know. I just don't. I never. It's interesting hearing your perspective about like worrying about that kind of stuff because I kind of just never did. Despite the fact that we both, like you said, we're not exactly sultry in our appearance or like making sultry like seductive stuff while we're streaming.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not. You might be, but
I want to be raunchy. That's what I want to do, and not like like I don't want to go out and sex with everybody I talk to and like seriously go through that, but like at the same time I just want to be raunchy and be like, "Oh, put a black light on the walls." I'm trying to I'm trying to allude to things without directly saying things.
Some of it I think would be fine, but I appreciate you just kind of filtering all of it because it's I don't know exactly what would be okay or not.
Yeah, we try our best.
Oh, YouTube. Well, I think we're kind of winding down. I don't really have anything else specifically about the Sacer or the Gremlin Crew. Is there any other shout outs or anything else you'd like to say before we get to our final question?
Check out my squad. I love them. There are a lot of them now. There were only like 5 at the beginning, but they've grown in numbers. They got someone fed them. Was it feeding them after midnight that made them multiply or just go crazy? I don't know.
Something like that. Or getting them wet. I haven't seen it in a long
Oh,
time.
well, there
Not,
you
not that
go.
kind of wet, Vivi. Come
There's
on.
where
We were just talking about this.
Rosmann. Yeah, go check them out. I stream with them all the time, so you'll get to know them. There really are just too many to shout. There's like fucking 15, 20 of them now. I
Yeah, I'm kind
love
of the
them
same
all.
way. Like anytime anybody asks me to shout somebody out, I'm like, there's so many people. I'd feel bad if I started listing off names because I know I'm gonna like miss
That's
one.
my yeah. I would feel bad just shouting out only people that I see here.
So yes, check
I
out
love everybody. Check out everyone.
all of them. Check out Vivi's crew. Asterisk, not really Vivi's crew, but all right. Well, as we're ending here, if there's one thing you could leave the audience with, what would it be?
Jar.
The audience isn't gonna. Well, some of the audience, most of the audience isn't gonna know what that is.
Don't take life too seriously. You only got one of them. Unless you're a skeleton.
Beautiful advice from Queen Vivi over here. Thank you very much for doing this with me, Vivi. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise. All right. Well, and thank you very much to the audience and everybody else for listening in. And I'll see you next time. Stay shiny.